I'm going to compare two e-commerce companies and determine which one is the better buy, Mercado Libre or Shopify. Of course, Mercado Libre is down 37% in 2022, whereas Shopify was down 74.8% in 2022. So let's look at a few metrics and answer the question, which stock is the better buy? First thing I want to look at is revenue growth quarterly going back as long a history as we've got for Shopify, and we see here revenue growth is accelerating for Mercado Libre in the first years until 2021 and decelerating for both as e-commerce sales have slowed and economies have reopened and people started going out more, spending more money on away from home channels. Still, uh, Mercado Libre better revenue growth in the most recent quarter, almost double that of Shopify. And Mercado Libre, of course, focuses on the Latin American e-commerce market and fintech. And the Latin American e-commerce market is expected to grow faster than the US e-commerce market, and where Shopify has a more dominant position in. So going forward, I expect MELI to have better revenue growth and the advantage in this metric. Next, let's look at total assets because I like to see how much assets the company has and then how much return on assets they're getting, right? What are the fundamental things that the company is generating profits from, and then how much profit is it generating from those things, right? Let's say it has 5 machines. How much profit is it generating from those 5 machines? If you have a company that has 3 machines and is generating just as much profit as a company with 5 machines, you'd prefer to buy the one that has 3 machines, right? It's just a better performer. It's better at doing the things that it's doing, and as it adds more machines, its profits are going to expand more than the other company, right? It's a measure of performance. And so this is interesting because Shopify and MELI both have similar amount of assets. They've both got Mercado Libre has got 11.96 billion total assets in its most recent quarter. Shopify's got 11.2 billion total assets. Both of them have been adding to their asset base. And then let's look at its return on assets. And Mercado Libre, uh, over the last, I would say until before 2014, was doing better than Shopify, and then they were relatively even. And then during the explosion of online sales during the earlier parts of the pandemic, Shopify did a much better job, achieve explosive profitability as consumers flocked to online spending and merchants in the US flocked to platforms, signing up and starting a website and all of that stuff that benefited Shopify. But more recently, that has turned sour, and that's mostly because Shopify has invested aggressively in rolling out its logistics network. It's trying to get its hands into shipping and handling and fulfillment, which I was not too thrilled with. I preferred its model of just trying to get merchants to sign up onto their platform, and that side of the business fulfillment is inherently more expensive, and I like that it didn't have its hands in that business. But that's why its return on assets has turned negative 26%, whereas Mercado Libre is 2.6%. Still nothing great, but at least it's not as bad as Shopify's return on assets more recently. Next, I want to look at operating profitability. And again, Mercado Libre with the advantage here and has maintained the advantage over the longer term. And that advantage is even exploding since 2022, where operating profit is still going higher for Mercado Libre, where it's falling for Shopify, negative 345 million in its most recent quarter. Next, let's look at cash flow from operations. And again, we see a similar advantage for Mercado Libre that we saw for operating income in terms of cash flow from operations. Shopify is heading in the wrong direction here. Again, due to the investments in fulfillment, shipping and handling, logistics, which they spent billions of dollars on, and it remains to be seen how effective those investments are going to be. Finally, let's look at the valuation difference using the price to sales ratio as the metric to use. And looking at this, Shopify trading at 8.74, whereas MercadoLibre trading at 5.227. And so MercadoLibre is the cheaper stock according to this valuation. And to add to that mix, the fact that MercadoLibre was outperforming in terms of cash flow from operations, operating income, and return on assets, and they're selling at a cheaper valuation, I'm going to say MercadoLibre is the better stock to buy between these two. All right, that's all I've got for this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. I want to thank the Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/Parkev for the 10 best stocks to buy now.